Okay, hello everybody. For those who've seen me already yesterday, I'm David. You already met me. For those who didn't, I'm David. I'm from Argentina. If you want to at any moment interrupt me, that's totally okay. I like questions, so that's fine. And I also understand Spanish and I can speak. So if you have any questions in Spanish, I can translate it for the rest who don't speak Spanish. In this talk, I'm going to talk a little bit about prototyping. Whoops. Hola. Ahí va. So I'm going to talk a little bit about prototyping and how to do it in a multi-platform way and using actual real data. So we want to be able to create applications in many, many devices, and a little bit later I will try to explain why we want to do it, and we'll see a few different approaches to doing it and to actually be able to consume the same data everywhere, so that at least we get an idea of what the real project is going to be about. So what is a prototype? A prototype is basically a not completely fully fledged solution to a problem. It's a way to test some assumptions, test an idea, just try things out and have different ways to get an idea of how it will eventually turn out. For example, we have many different kinds of prototypes to do this. The first one is a proof of concept. It's a very simple toy example we can use to actually test an idea. In this case, oh, it's not moving. Yeah, I'm talking a little bit too much and this is not moving, so let's do it again. Thingy. Okay, so I think I have to do it this way. I have no reference, but let's work with it. So the first one is proof of concept. It's like a very simple toy idea. For example, in this example, it's just a drawing of a car, what we think might be a good model for our investors to actually put money in. It's just something that comes out of our minds. In the case of software, might be, I want to do a mobile app written in Python. How can I do that in like 30 lines of code? So that's something that we call a proof of concept. It's just a basic thing. It doesn't have to do actually anything, just shows that something is possible. Second is a visual prototype. Now, this is a little bit more worked out. Like we have an idea of what we actually want. It went through this proof of concept stage, and we now have something that we actually are looking for working on. So it's a very small representation of what we actually want. It doesn't have to work. In this case, it's just a model toy car. So it's not a running toy car. It's not that we can drive it and run around. It's just a simple thing to learn how it actually will look in the end, and try to look for ways to improve it and maybe production processes and start looking into a little bit more into that. Then we have a working prototype. In this case, we take just a tiny bit of what we are actually looking to build. In this case, it's an engine, and we look how to actually make it work. This is very, very close to what in the end we'll have for that small functional thing. And last, it's a working prototype. Sorry, it's not as right as I want, but it's close to the final product. It's already functioning. Like it has a working engine. You can pump gas to that. It will drive you to somewhere. But it's for us to explore how to actually manufacture it, how to actually have the thing working in the end, like how to get from that to the real thing. So what does prototyping help us do? The first thing, it's what what proof of concepts and visual prototypes help us do is have personal validation. We want to do something, and this allows us to say, yeah, it's possible. If I work some amount of time, I can actually do this. The second one is management buy-in. Like, people want money. Like, if we want to turn this into a business, we actually have to sell it somehow. And when we show something that might potentially work, our investors will put money into it. And the last one is effort estimation. So if a prototype took me like 2 hours to build, and it does somewhat what I need in the end, I have a pretty good clue of how much more work I actually need to put in order to get something real working. So it's a really good tool for these things. So now that we know what prototypes are, we might want to look where we are trying to deliver our products, and with that in mind, take a little bit broader look at what we can do actually. So people consume content in very different ways. We are software engineers, so we're talking about content applications software. The car might not be our our spectrum of interest, so that's why I'm talking about content. But over the years, this has been evolving a lot. But right now, people over the age of 18 are still consuming most of their content through TVs. But people that are less than 34 years old are consuming most of their content through mobile and some through desktop, while the rest still remain using their computers and mobiles pretty similarly, still way under the TV performance. But having this in mind, we need to deliver our content to all these different platforms. So what does this do? We have to find a new way of delivering content. And that's where the Headless CMS comes in. It's an API-first way of delivering content everywhere. If your thingy talks HTTP, we are able to serve stuff to you. I personally work for Contentful, so I'm going to talk about this from a Contentful standpoint. And what is Contentful? As I said, it's an API that provides you content everywhere. And how does it do it? It allows you to model your content however you like. Say you want something for a VR application showing a Minecraft thingy, you can do it. You want a blog, you can do it. You want something very weird that, for example, the British Museum uses us for storing historical content of things and displaying some awesome app I will show you in a bit, possible. So the greatest thing that this allows you is that with one source of truth, you have your content in only one place. You actually can deliver anywhere, be it a web application, mobile, a car, whatever you can imagine. So let's see this is allowed because you have an SDK for every single platform. Python is sadly not listed there, but it will be next week, because I'm just releasing a few new tutorials and things, and the SDK and the ecosystem will be complete around next week, so stay tuned for that. But now let's see some examples. For example, for web, this is a British Museum site. They have like this historic timeline that you can explore throughout each year, seeing like from ancient Egypt or before, like things and facts and some different media. Even their tour guides inside the museum are all done with this, with Contentful. Then, for example, on mobile, Share the Meal has their mobile app and the TV OS app using Contentful. All the same data is used across all their platforms. You can do virtual reality games and also augmented reality apps. This is an example I made for a game jam about a year ago. I said, what can I do with content and games? And I just built a Minecraft map in which every single block of those is an entry within our CMS. So you can like literally model anything that you want. TV apps, this is the Share the Meal app. Sorry, the Tastemade app. You can integrate with voice platforms. Now they are extremely powerful. Alexa and Google Home and even Siri are now open to developers to do whatever you want. So this is a really, really important place to be right now. IoT devices, this is a mirror prototype we built last year, in which I'll show then later a demo. We just said, can we put this into a Raspberry Pi and make something cool for us to show? And it's possible. As long as you have internet, you can do like all this crazy stuff. So, how do we create our own prototype? There are many tools to do this. I'll show a few demos right now with each of them, but first I want to like tell you a little bit about each of them. So for UI and UX, we have Sketch, which is a prototyping platform for designers that want to test different UI sketching. In our case, one of our developers created a plugin for Sketch in which you can actually test with real data, so you don't have to put placeholders. You can actually have your data stored inside Contentful and pull it and actually see it working. Then for mobile and multi-platform mobile, you have Kiwi and now Beware. Keith gave a talk this morning. He's the main developer behind that, and he told me yesterday that it did this thing. I didn't know what it was for, and now I'm super surprised, and I actually want to collaborate with him. So Kiwi is a multi-platform mobile environment. Same goes for Beware. They allow you to, with very little code, have applications running in both Android and iOS. Then Electron is a huge framework that works for front. It's a bootstrapped Node.js inside a front-end worker that allows you to have multi-platform apps, including like in IoT devices and desktop. I'm going to show the smart mirror prototype that's built inside with Electron. And then I have a fully working web prototype using Yango. I shamelessly stole the example I'm using in Yango from a blog I wrote that's not in Yango. It's not even in Python, it's in Ruby. But I stole all the templates, and it's using the same data, and it's working. So now it's demo time. Let me try to set this up. Arrangement. That stuff. Okay, we have stuff. So first I wanted to show you the Sketch app. So let me open up Sketch and open my demo. So this is actual content. Let's see a little bit of this. I'm not sure if you can see. Let me. So all the content you'll see here is about this teaching agiles with Minecraft blog post I wrote. So let me open up actually the Contentful app so you can see what I'm talking about, because else I'm going to talk in the air a little bit. If the internet gods allow it. So here we go. I built a little blog sample thingy in which I have like an author and a post and some content. I have 2 posts and myself as an author. So like I can edit stuff inside here. Let's say this is no longer enseñando ágiles with Minecraft, and it's just showing some stuff. And I publish that. And then I go to Sketch, and within my plugin, I fetch the new data. So now it actually updated. So within my prototyping application, I can see my real content working. So that's Sketch. I'm really bad at Sketch, so I cannot actually show you how to build a UI prototype. I just stole somebody's and put my content inside there. Because I'm not a designer, I never knew how to do any of these things. But it works, it's really awesome, and I'm really proud of it. So now let's look at some Yango code. I'm not sure if you can read this, but basically, this is all of the code that you need to actually have a working blog written in Yango. That's how it's like 2 lines of setup, then just getting the posts, like the post list, then the post by the slug, because I have the slug in the URL. That's how it. So let's try running the Yango app. First, I need to close this. That's my space ID and access token, so it can load the content from Contentful. And now I can do localhost 8000. And I have my PyCaribbean demo app with just showing some stuff, teaching Agile with Minecraft, and everything you've seen there. And it's literally like 20 lines of code, 30 lines of code. So let's move on from this and go to some mobile apps. I have mobile here. So these are the 2 apps. The one in the left is the one done with PyB, and the one in the right is the one done with Kiwi. They are extremely similar. Both look pretty much alike. One is with white background, the other one with black background, but they are mostly the same. So let's run first the Kiwi one. This goes Python, app.py. So just showing some stuff. So what we just updated is actually reflecting inside our app. This cross-compiles to both iOS and Android. So if you actually put some time into this, you could actually package an application and sell it into the App Store without any kind of troubles. As I said, I'm not a designer, so sadly my apps look really bad. What? This compiles to a mobile app, so it creates an Android package and an iOS package that you can ship into your cell phone. Yes, in this case, everything is pinging Contentful. So only when I load the application, but it's still pinging the server. So when I load the application, it goes fetch all the content, and then depending on how I want to make the application work, I can either make it ping it for each of the entries or whatever. We also have like persistence libraries, so you don't actually have to ping all the time unless there's an update from the server, so you can monitor that stuff. In the case of the Yango app I showed, it's actually pinging the server for every post I get, just because we are already on the web, it's not that big of a deal. But you can look for many different models. The blog I stole the templates from is using a static site generator, so it fetches all the content only once. And then what it does is I have a CI tool running on the background anytime I change content inside Contentful, so that runs the build command for the blog, and that actually then publishes again with the updated stuff. So in that case, I only fetch whenever I actually publish content. So you have very different workflows. In this case, as I just wanted to try if it worked, this is like totally fine. So for PyB, it's pretty similar. I just run python app.py, and I have all the same things. And as you see, this is the content I updated. And let's say I want to update it again and say, hello. And I publish my changes. In a few seconds, I should have the new content. It takes a little bit because it has cache propagation, so about 30 seconds, but shouldn't take longer than that. Okay, so now we go. So it's actually using real data. The delay we have there is because all the content is cached globally, so it actually has to kill all the caches and refresh them, and that takes some time. And it's sadly non-deterministic because there are many services around the world, and until it does everywhere, you don't have consistency. But once you do it, you have extremely fast content everywhere. So the last demo was the mirror I wanted to show. So let's find the mirror. Here it is. So this is the actual same software that runs inside the mirror I showed in the photograph. In this case, I'm just showing the list of posts I have and myself. So hello PyCaribbean and all that stuff, and me. This works, where am I? Here. So this works with a little templating engine I wrote on a module for the Magic Mirror framework, in which you just input your credentials. You do a simple templating, in this case for this is the avatar and this is the post. So it's like very, very simple. You put the fields that you want to see, and that's what you actually get. And that's pretty nice. So that's it for the demos. So in conclusion, what are prototypes for? They serve for these three things. First, for idea generation. It's really awesome to be able to say, I want to do something. How can I do it in like 10, 15 minutes, 1 day, 2 days? So you can actually see if your idea is worth something for yourself. Then you can get early feedback from your colleagues or even yourself or your boss or whoever is actually pitching for you to do this. And then allows you to check if it's worth something, and also allows you to estimate. It's very, very important. So prototypes should be easy to create. So just do them. It's awesome. And that's about it. If you have any questions. Yes. There? There. So if you have any questions, please feel free. I'm David, and it's been awesome. So I use one source of content to actually test different platforms. So be it a mobile app, a TV app, a web page, whatever. Yeah, so it's one source of content, and the code varies depending on what you're actually testing. So for example, the mirror app I showed is running on Node.js and JavaScript. Then I have the Yango and the two mobile apps that are running on Python. And then the Sketch app is running in something called CocoaScript, which is like a mixture of Objective-C and JavaScript that's weirdly embedded inside Sketch. Yes?
Confused about content for itself. So that's still content for you.
Yes.
So what kind of business model?
So Contentful is an API-First CMS. The idea is you model content freely however you like, and then we provide you different APIs to either manage your content or deliver your content everywhere. The delivery API is what we are using for all these demos, because I was managing from the web app. But the idea is to separate your actual front end from from how content is made. So instead of having, I don't want to say anything bad about Yango CMS, but for example, all their content is stored deeply related to how it's shown within the interface. So for example, if you want to migrate your content from that web app to a different place, you actually have to come along with the whole front end. So it's not that you can go from web to mobile easily. It's a very hard pain. The idea behind Contentful is to allow you to have multiple front ends for one content.
I think that I guess I'm not understanding the business model.
So the business model is basically, as you have content has to be stored somewhere. We deliver it. For storing and delivery. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the idea is to have developers working with code and editors working with content, and those two don't really need to mix. So you have the developers happy dealing with APIs, which is what they know, and editors happy dealing with a CMS, which is what they know. And they don't necessarily have to touch. Well, that's about it. I'm David. You can find me there. And I'll try to upload the slides tonight. And I'll tweet about it.